Hello, everyone, and welcome to You've Retired, Now What? I'm here to help you navigate through these waters of deciding what's the rest of my life going to look like? What's my next phase going to look like? What have I not done that I wanted to do? I'm your host, Michael Kiffmeyer, and each week on this podcast, I give you tips and tricks, processes, and methodologies that can help you through your thought process. So we got a whole lot to talk about. Let's dive in. You know, when we worked, we knew exactly who we were. We knew what was expected of us, when we had to be somewhere, when we didn't have to be there, and we knew what was next each and every day. But guess what? Funny thing happened on the way to retirement. We lost our identity. And over and beyond just our identity, we have a lot of self-doubt. And we focus on something that I think's absolutely crazy. We focus on age. And we start to tell ourselves, I'm too old to do this. I'm too old to do that. And I want to call bull on all of that. It's not true. You can do whatever it is you want to do. I want you to think of a couple things. Colonel Sanders of Colonel Sanders Fried Chicken, it took him 15 to 20 years to get his recipes accepted in restaurants in the United States. And it didn't happen until he was 65. But he had the drive, he had the passion in his heart to make this happen. And so that's exactly what he did. Then there's Grandma Moses. Grandma Moses didn't start painting until she was in her 70s. And by 85, she was putting out masterpieces. And did she worry about her age? No, she had a passion, she had a drive, and she told herself internally, I can do whatever it is I want to do. I can tell you personally, I'm a life and business transformation coach. I have several clients that when I work with them, they tell me what their great revelations and their new beginnings are. They looked at retirement as an opportunity. I have a lady that I work with that she started jogging in her 60s. First she started walking, that led to jogging, then it went into running. Guess what she did at 72 years old? She ran a full marathon. Yep, 26 miles. And it invigorated her. It made her have a purpose to get up and out of that bed each and every day. And she didn't look at what her age was, just knew she wanted to do that. I've got a good friend that he was always in the manufacturing business, worked in a manufacturing plant for 40 years, but he always had a passion for history. And he always thought someday he wanted to teach. So we talked back and forth, and guess what? He went back to college, or he started college. He hadn't been to college yet. He went to college, got his degree, and now he's teaching. Here he is now at 68 years old, and he said he's the most fulfilled and the happiest he's ever been in his life. So I want to implore you, I don't want you to look at your age as a detriment. I want you to look at it as a blessing. I want you to think back at how many friends, relatives, or just people that you've known haven't made it to your age right now. Every day is a gift, and you need to take that gift and you need to treasure it, and you need to do the best possible thing you can do. Remember when you were a child, we had about all kinds of things we were going to do, and somehow we squelched those dreams. Why do we do that? Well, we were told we had to do the responsible thing, get a job. We had a family to raise, and we had to get rid of those frivolous dreams. Well, I want to share with you, you can take those dreams back up, and you can reincarnate them, if you will, and go for what it is you want to do. If you have retired and you don't have to answer to anybody, perhaps your spouse, your significant other, you might have to answer to them. But other than that, you don't have to answer to people. So you need to start striving for what it is you've always wanted to do and you haven't done yet. So I want to give you a couple ideas that I've come across that might help you as you worry about your age. First and foremost, retirement is not the end. It's just another phase of life. And the other thing is, retirement today is not what your grandparents had. It's not what your mom and dad had. It's different. And if you are in my age category, which is baby boomer, we got more to do. If our hips need replaced, we do it. And if we got a knee or shoulder replacement, we do it. But we keep moving forward because with everything that we have in this life now, the sky's the limit. There are tools that you can do or tools that you can use that can help you. And I can help you in that arena as well. I am an educator. I have been a professional educator for over 30 years. And I have taught and helped some of the largest corporations in the world to teach their people, teach their clients, to get their marketing messages out, whatever it may be. And we've done it all through learning. Well, the good news is that those tools, processes, and methodologies, my mission is to help folks like you, folks that have retired and know that there's more. And there is more. You can do whatever it is you want to do. What we have a problem with, though, is we're going to have a problem with our minds. We bought into what society said retirement looks like. We don't have to buy into that. Okay? We just, you're not going to sit it and forget it and just sit around. I learned that the average retiree is watching somewhere between 35 and 38 hours a week of television. That's a whole long time and to watch Wheel of Fortune or whatever you're watching and not putting it in some kind of productive format that will fit your lifestyle, whatever that may be. Many people, I hate to say it, they are intrinsically lazy. They don't want to. They don't want to do other things, and they think, "Well, I'm retired." Well, here's what I've observed: when people retire and they don't have a sense of purpose, they don't have a reason for getting up every morning. They age well before their time. So how do we stop this aging process? Can't stop it. It's going to happen inevitably. Can't stop it. But here's what you can do. You can stay active. You can stay mentally alert by reading books, listening to podcasts, become involved with groups. And that's item number 2 I wanted to share with you today. Number 2 is you need to socialize. People were made to connect. That fulfilling feeling that you had when you worked, that's because you had friends, you had colleagues, you had different people that you worked with. You might not have thought it at the time, but these folks were your social connection, and you felt connected. And perhaps you have retired and you're finding a real void. That's because these people are working. You're not, unless you decide to, and if it fits your needs. So if you're not going to, develop that kind of a social group, then reach out. You can join clubs like Oddfellows. You can join a knitting group, a reading group. Your church community. They have small groups in churches where you can interact and share ideas. Personally, I belong to a men's group, and it's one of the best things I do. And we share ideas not only about our Christian beliefs, but also about, just things that's going on in our lives. And men and women alike, they need to get, it out. And sometimes they can't tell those that are the closest to it. They need another outlet. So even on social media, you can find groups, whatever your interest might be. And there's a book out there by a gentleman named Daniel Buettner, and it's called The Blue Zones. And here's what the Blue Zones is all about. The Blue Zones is this man traveled the world to try to find out, why do these people live into their 80s, 90s, and even the hundreds? What's different? Well, one of the things he found out is they're eating non-processed foods. They're exercising, even if it's just a walk or working on a farm or whatever else. They are keeping themselves mentally stimulated by reading books and having interactions. They have social connections. And all these things combined can help people live a full life. Let's say for a second that you're thinking to yourself, well, Michael, I worked all these years and I always thought about leaving a legacy, but I don't feel like I quite got there. Well, what is stopping you now? Do you know that you're going to live, if you've retired at 65, statistics show you're probably going to live another 25 to 30 years. That's another career if you want to do it, or you can just volunteer and you can get involved in a hobby and do whatever it is you want to do. So my message here is to try to encourage you to not worry about your age. Just go for whatever it is you want. Heck, Ben Franklin was working in the Parliament, or the French Parliament, well into his 80s. And, back in the day, and when I say back in the day, I'm talking about pre-World War II, people didn't retire. People just worked until the day they died. And I'm not saying you have to do that. If you have planned and you're financially able to not work and feel good about it, more power to you. Hey guys, real quick, if you've been struggling to answer the question, now what, after you've retired, I'd like to invite each and every one of you to my free Now What challenge that can help you reignite your spark, give yourself a sense of direction, try to decide exactly what it is you want to do in this next phase of your life. People are very smart and they get worn out. I know that. But eventually they know they got to do something more. And you need a purpose to get up and out of that bed each and every morning. I have tools, processes, and methodologies that I'm going to share with you in this challenge that I believe will help you clear your mind and decide exactly what you're going to do in this next phase of your life. I have a good friend. Matter of fact, he's my best friend. He's a retired lawyer, and he got bored while he was working in corporate law. He taught himself to be a financial planner. He didn't do it for others. He did it for he and his wife. But the good news is he can live pretty much free. They travel the world, he and his wife, and they have enough finances. They don't have to worry about that. But what if you don't have enough finances? What if you worked all these years and now it's time to retire and you don't have exactly what you need to feel comfortable? Then there's a lot of things you could do. You might go back to work for a short time. You might get a part-time job. And the other thing is they've got these flexible jobs where you can work out of your home, your own little office, and just do it on your time, your terms, and you can bring in extra finances in. The other thing that I implore you to think about is this. You need to still visit with a financial planner. I know that you probably did a very good job with your financial planner and you planned for your retirement. But I'll bet you this, I bet you didn't plan for another 25 or 30 years after you retired. I bet you planned for like 10 or 15 or so, and the money's not going to last. And if it's not, you're going to have to start taking plans to change that. Think about what they do in Hollywood. In Hollywood, they write Hollywood scripts, okay? And they start to write it, and they put it out there. They ask friends what they think. They don't like that. What do? They tear it up, and they start again. Can you tell me why you can't do that as well? You don't have to just say, well, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to um, live the rest of my life. If you're resigned to that's what you're going to do, fine. Okay, as long as you have the financial means and the mental stability to do whatever you name, that's wonderful. But if you don't, let's take another look. And what can I do now? You need to keep seeing a financial planner or advisor. And the reason is this: laws change. Here I'm talking to you in August of 2024. I'll guarantee you, those of you that are listening and watching to me, you never thought inflation would be where it is. But guess what? Here we are. Been to the grocery store lately? Prices are astronomical. Don't even get me started on gasoline. I live in California, and we got the highest gas prices in the world. I can't tell what I used to pay when I was a young man. My wife says, "You're showing your age." Well, I know, things change. And you got to learn how to adapt. That's probably message number 3 I like to share with you. Message number 3 is you got to be able to adapt. You got to embrace change. Yeah, I know you have comfortable, you're comfortable in the way you always did things. Let me share with you, in working with organizations, that was one of my biggest challenges. Teaching change management. People get comfortable in what they're doing, and they want to do it the same way. But the same way might not be efficient. The same way might not be cost effective. The same way might take too much time. And if you can find, what organizations always wanted to find was better, cheaper, faster. And perhaps you just want to go at a nice even keel. Newsflash, the world won't let you go at a nice even keel all the time. Somebody's always throwing a wrench in your plans, are they not? So that's why you got to adapt, and you got to kind of be like a moving target, if you will, and have your head on a swivel so you pay attention each and every step of the way of your journey in this next phase of life. You have to be proactive. If you just sit there and say, well, I'm just going to kind of be mellowed out, things will happen to you. You know those bills that you always had handled? What happens if here you are in your mid-70s and a water heater blows out, or you got to replace a new roof and you haven't budgeted for it? You don't have that income coming in anymore, so what are you going to do? You got to plan for that. And I don't care what age you are, you got to plan for that. We've been given so many opportunities, especially I would say in the past 10 years. We've always had opportunities, but especially the past 10 years or so, the world has opened wide open. And it's told us that we don't have to have a work-life balance. We just need to have a life that we want to live, that we enjoy, and that we are financially stable, that we can do this. So, and I know a lot of people say, well, I really like to change, and I really like to do some different things. I don't quite know how to go about it. Well, I'd like to invite everybody listening and watching this podcast to a free challenge that I'm going to hold in September. The challenge is going to be called the Now What Challenge. And the focus of that challenge is for people that are getting ready to retire, or have, more importantly, have already retired, have done everything they wanted to do, probably traveled the world, gone on vacations, and they're now asking themselves, now what? A person needs a sense of purpose, either working or not working. And in this challenge, I'm going to help you discover what is your why. As you move forward in this next phase of your life, your why is the most important thing. Your why is what drives you. Your why is why you get up out of that bed each and every morning. What motivates you? What excites you? And if you don't have the excitement right now in this challenge, we're going to find a way to match values with interests. And if they don't fit, if you try something, we're going to go back to the Hollywood script and we're going to tear it up and we're going to rewrite it. because this is your life, and you might have to go through several iterations before you find out something that's comfortable for you. I always say, if you can fit your dreams and your visions in a box, it's not big enough. You need to have them all the way out here instead of right in here. Can't do easy. You can, but you're not going to be fulfilled. You want to stretch yourself and do more than you ever thought you could do. So, again, in this challenge, we're going to help you with a blueprint. We're going to help you with a blueprint on what do I do next. What are the steps I need to take to kind of come up with the why? What is it I want to do? What are my values? And how can I accomplish them? You know, a dream and a goal is just that until you put them down on paper and put a timeline to it. What I mean, how about something as simple as losing weight? I'm going to lose 30 pounds in the next 3 months. How are you going to do that? What are you going to do every day? Is exercise involved? What kind of foods you're going to eat, etc., etc. We can do that with the same thing of setting a goal on what you think you're going to do in this next phase of life. And finally, we're going to make you feel comfortable with the next steps that you're going to choose, whatever they may be. And if you have problems, you ask me, and I'm going to help you along and help you find some answers. That's what my goal is. So again, this challenge is going to be in September. Don't know quite the week. I'm thinking right now about the second week of September. But if you're interested, drop me a line at my personal email, which is mfkiffy1@gmail.com. I want to thank you for listening, and I surely appreciate you. If you have friends, family, or colleagues that might benefit from this podcast, please share this with them. And once we have more people and we have more community, we can help each other, and life is not going to be a struggle. It's going to be a blessing. I thank you for listening. I'll talk to you next time. Hey, before we conclude this episode, I'd like each and every one of you to know that your thoughts, your dreams, and what you would like to get out of this podcast is valuable to me. My whole goal and my mission is to serve you like I have served others. For years I had taught major corporations how to use learning as a competitive advantage. I want to do the same for you. So please leave your notes or reach out to me, and I want to gear this podcast towards your wants and needs and help you as much as I can. Again, this is Michael Kiffmeyer, and you've listened to You've Retired, Now What? I want to thank each and every one of you for listening.